Hello, my name is Gustav Nilsson, and in this quick tutorial I will show you how to go from a simple line drawing like this one to a shaded painting like this in 6 simple steps. I am using a drawing of the robot from my upcoming short film, but the technique you learn here should work for any kind of line drawing. Also, I'm using Krita, but it should work with most painting softwares out there. The first step is to identify a single piece within the drawing. You can think of a piece as something that can be drawn independently from the rest of the drawing. It could be the pot of a flower or the arm on a shirt. In this case, the different pieces of the drawing are pretty obvious since the robot is made up of different mechanical parts. Each of these parts could be painted without painting the rest, meaning that they are all different pieces. Let's pick one, which doesn't matter. For this one, I will just start with this shoulder piece. The second step is to create a new layer to draw on. Each piece should have its own layer so they can be worked on independently. But before we add a layer, we should add a folder to keep things organized. The shoulder is part of the torso, so let's add a folder and name it torso. Then inside it, we can add a new layer and name it shoulder. The third step is to paint over the selected piece with a solid color. Pick a neutral gray at 50% brightness, making it as close to black as it is to white. Activate some kind of smoothing on the brush so the lines you draw end up straight and clean instead of wiggly and uneven. Start by tracing the outside of the selected part. Then fill the center with the same color, giving you a solid block of color. The fourth step is to lock the transparency of the layer. When it is activated, you can't add any new color to the layer, only change the one we have. This makes sure that this shape will stay intact no matter how you paint it later. The fifth step is to think about the lighting. Let's hide the layer for now, just so we can see the original lines clearly. This piece you are working on should have a 3-dimensional shape, and the way to show that shape is to give it light and shadows. Try to think about how much light would hit the different parts of this piece in the real world. Is the part covered by or close to some other pieces? Then it should be darker since less light would reach it. Is the part in the wide open? Then it should be lighter since more light would reach it. If you want a more realistic lighting in your drawing, imagine there is a light source somewhere in your scene as well. Give it an exact position in your mind, like over here. Then imagine it sends out light. The parts it hits should be lighter, and the parts it doesn't hit should be darker. The last step is to shade this solid block of color, to add the light and shadows you figured out in the previous step. We do this by painting over it with different shades of gray. Use a soft brush to make the shades smooth, with no apparent lines. Paint it in a darker gray to add shadows, and a lighter gray to add light. Since the transparency is locked on this layer, you can just paint away, without risking painting on something else. The bigger the brush is, the smoother the shades get. The smaller the brush is, the harsher they get. By painting with the brush almost completely outside of the piece like this, only the edges will be affected. You have now shaded one piece of the image. All you must do now is to repeat these 6 steps for every piece, and you will get a finished shaded painting. If you want to see me paint more of the robot, I have uploaded a time-lapse video where I shade the entire side view. 12 hours of painting compressed into 12 minutes of video. And if you want to know more about the short film I'm making, visit makingashortfilm.com where I post updates and show the whole process from start to finish. Thanks and see you around!